Hey everyone, I just wanted to come on here and give a quick update. A lot of people email us asking, do you know what is happening right now? We don't really have a very clear answer, but we do know one thing is certain, and that is a rebirth. That is a certainty. It's not written in books necessarily, but you can feel it. You can feel the extent of it, and you can feel how that's impacting you internally, externally. It feels like if you're not moving, then, you know, and that doesn't necessarily mean physically moving, but if you're not making changes, you're very static in one place, then you sort of feel you're going down. You know, you can feel it. You can feel yourself, maybe your energy diminishing, or just something's not aligning, and it's just your whole world sometimes feel like it's shattered. It's like something has to change, something has to be shook, we have to make that leap, because what's happening is a rebirth, meaning new earth, and not in the sense that New Ages speak about, but in the sense that there is a new Eka system. So the higher God worlds are helping us co-create with them, and new crystalline structures are being are being created, and overriding the old structures that go with the old system that served us for a little while, or maybe not, but it did it did work for a little while until it no longer did, and now that's being overridden, which means our dimensions, our strands 1, 2, 3, and the substrands, they're being recoded. Not the higher strands, the lower strands. So what this means is a part of ourselves is going down into reverse timelines. So you feel a sudden urge to do some healing work or something, and just leave the old habits, old paradigms, and old connections, old energies. You feel like you're coming into a space of things are clearing up, and that's what you're doing. You're surrendering those old parts of yourself to the reversal matrix. They're being pulled into that matrix and drawn down into that vacuum. Like it's like a vacuum cleaner, and it's just sucking out all the dirt, all the dust and everything. And it just feels like, okay, you've got more cleaner working space. But then how you use that working space then becomes the variant is, and the deciding factor for where you go from here. So again, if you're just gonna shed old things and then accumulate more things that don't serve you, then it's the same process. It's not moving on, it's not growing, it's just recycling. And we're done with that. We're done with recycling. Now we're building, we're creating. And in the meantime, we are, I feel like I speak for myself and for us, but I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like the best path is the path of least resistance, where you allow parts of yourself to fade and not cry over them, and not shed any tears over what is gone and what you no longer have, because that's all an illusion. What if I say to you, you never had it in the first place? It was never yours. You're just meant to pass through it, whether it be a relationship, a job, something you owned, a place you lived, a holiday you went on, anything. Something has to go, because it's the experience that you needed. It's the value is in the experience and not in the thing, the object. So you, the subject, is the one who has to accept things if you want to really evolve with this and integrate these energies, because this is truly a rebirth, but it's also a shedding away of parts of ourselves that we can't integrate, because sometimes we can integrate codes. Sometimes we have overshadowing, and all of us have overshadowing, miasmas, debris, codes, attachments and things that we don't really want to have anymore. The more we resist them, the more we are inviting them to stay, because we're actually energizing them. So if you constantly think about that attachment that you have, you're actually making it stay longer, because you're obsessing over it. You're giving it energy. You're giving it, even if it's temporary energy, you're still extending a lifeline to it, because you're giving it mental energy, emotional energy. So know what you have, know what's in your field, but also do the higher work. And by doing the higher work, you are integrating the codes that can be integrated. That is sort of like, okay, I can be recoded. I'm hanging in your field, but I can be recoded. Whereas other codes be like, speaking for them, I'm not going to be recoded. With this being, I want to go my own path, and so there's a process of disassociation must happen, and you have to have no resistance to it. It could be an event, a person, an energy, whatever it is, it has to go. And the path of least resistance is the path that will serve you when it comes to letting go. Do not have any resistance. Move with the time. Move with the wave. There's a name for that in one of the workshops that Ash and Michael facilitated, and she uses the word flame runner. So it's and Star Rider. So they're about riding the waves, jumping timelines from one system to the next. But being open to everything is there's also risks in that. You have to be discerning, as you know. I've spoken about this a few times before. We do have personal experience with this. I feel like Matt and I are being really tested right now, because we've been pushed to the limit with patience, perseverance, and just hang in there. Okay, how long more? We're not suffering, we're not in despair, but it almost got to that point the last few months, because we were being heavily attacked. But every time we not only come out of it and save ourselves and be saved, I don't like to say be saved, but we save ourselves, but we haven't been just okay. We've jumped timelines because we made that leap, and we made it through intentions and through running shields, obviously, but also by hanging in there and knowing who we are. So everything is about you, remembering who you are. That's the main component if you really want to evolve. That's number one. You've got to always, you are the safety net, so you have that safety net. Don't have to rely on external things. People are going out there getting weapons, trying to protect themselves and stuff like that, which is okay, but running frequency can be just as powerful, the right frequency. And intentions too. If you have the intention of, okay, most people want to harm me, and you get out there, you're more likely to attract the people that would want to harm you, because it's your soul urging you to tweak your thoughts about this, because not everyone wants to harm you. You just happen to be in a place and time where you attract that energy. And everything is absolutely about intentions. This is why we always encourage and invite people to get in touch. If you have the intention of running frequencies, get together with us, contributing to the mission, the grand mission. It's not even our mission personally as people, as individuals. It's the mission we've been entrusted with, just as you have been entrusted with a mission to run the right frequency. And all of us here, all of us listening, all of us resonating with the Christic teachings, we are all entrusted with this work. It's sacred work. We've been put through so many trials, tribulations, and we come out more than okay. Actually, we manifest out of our downfall, because we come out, we don't just crawl out, we jump, we catapult out and manifest something grand. And that's what has been proven time and time again. And we don't have much, we haven't started with much, and we don't measure our success in this mission by how much we've got, rather by how far we've come. And we've come a long way just by tweaking our thoughts and having the right intentions. That's a massive leap, because we have really been invaded and our codes reversed. So just to come out of this, be awake, is a massive achievement, let alone having the courage to speak about the things that are being done to us, and not in a victim mentality sort of way, but like the truth, just sharing the truth. So what I also would like to add is part of the shedding also entails losing parts of our memory connected to old experiences. So a lot of us have been having memory issues. We perceive them as issues, but it's not. It's like a cleansing and a recalibration, and not so much a loss in memory. So what's been happening is these old experiences, as they're fading, as they're shedding, also the memory in general, but these particular memories are also being filtered out as well, because you have commanded that you no longer resonate with this particular frequency. So these particular frequencies are being overridden, and the memories attached to them are also being filtered out. And this is the reason why sometimes we wake up and we forget what we did the day before, because our biological memory is undergoing a recoding, a recalibration. Our race memory is waking up. So the higher strands are connected to race memory, genetic memory, race memory, morphogenetic memory, and galactic memory. So we're starting to wake up to experiences within the higher DNA strands and scalar wave patterns that we normally don't identify with on a day-to-day basis. So these are waking up, and the biological memory is having to, slowly cleanse itself and recalibrate. Another thing that's been happening is dreams. Dream state this is a complex one, I feel, because it's still carrying a lot of our subconscious patterns, a lot of the imprints, a lot of the traumas and tears and fears of past experiences. But sometimes, even though we don't have a recollection of what actually occurred, we still have in the subconscious the emotion of the trauma that occurred. This is why sometimes we see spiders and we have a fear, because we remember being traumatized by the spider races, you know, and we remember having interface, and, you know, I think we lost that particular war because, you know, they pretty much brought the whole ecosystem down, which is, you know, they're still trying to do that now. But this is where our fear resides, in the subconscious, because in your subconscious it carries predominantly layers upon layers of emotional residue and things that haven't been processed, and it's just sitting there in like a jar with a lid. And as soon as we start to activate the higher strands and running flames and running frequencies, it's starting to change the morphogenetic scalar wave patterns of these imprints, and we're feeling them. We're feeling sometimes like a shedding has to occur. We feel at a loss, we feel tired, and sometimes it feels like I'm getting rejuvenated, and hence with that comes a leap in time. So a leap in time is like jumping from, you know, a small, like a frequency lower to a higher very quickly, and it feels like, geez, what just happened? Like, I don't know if I was the same person yesterday. Today I feel completely different. But when you're shedding, it feels different. It feels like it's still you, but it feels more like a void, like you've lost something. So there's a bit of difference between the two. So an upgrade will feel like it's still you, but there's still an ambiguous part of you, an expanded part of you. It's like traveling in space. You know, like when you do those meditations where you're just feel like you're floating. It feels to me like that, like a time leap. It's like, oh, I know I was there, but like now I just can't make sense of what's happening. I just feel so expanded. I don't know how I arrived here. And in contrast, the loss of the imprints, the things that we're fading out of this timeline, are things that you so want to attach to, but you feel like you're not attached to it anymore. So it feels like a part of you, but it's not anymore. And it feels like a loss, but try to perceive it not as a loss, you know, as a cleanse. Try to see it as a cleanse. So, you know, a realignment, if you like. It's really important that we command the mind to perceive things the right way, because if we don't, we're going to suffer a lot from what we perceive as losses and things that we don't want to give up on easily. And it's important to flow with, you know, accept what you've got and strive to, create, but also be prepared to just surrender things. If you're not meant to have them for your journey, you're not going to need them. They are probably going to drop out of your hologram, because your intentions are everything. Intentions are more important than your imagination and action, because everything sprouts from intention. Intention is the living flame, and once it ignites, it's going to start creating a wave pattern, a scalar wave pattern, that if you decide to follow that through with action, that's what's going to manifest for you. Really, intention comes from the heart. It's the living flame, and it's sound, it's vibration. It's the highest force. It's the highest force. The word and the intention are really from God's source direct. So don't underestimate the power of your good intentions. And sometimes action takes a while to catch up. You know, if you have an intention, strive to a good intention. You want to create something, strive for it, but You know, don't really put yourself under undue stress to make it happen, because if you're anchored in the right intentions in your heart, it's coming from your heart and not improper improper, if it's improper or if it's meant to hurt others. If it's anchored in Christic energy and intentions, then you will be given power, you'll be given the tools and people to help, to align with you to make that happen. You just have to remain anchored in that intention and not lose sight of that intention. So it's very, very important. And then the intention becomes a vision, because then you see it. It's happening now while you're intending for it, even though it hasn't happened, but you're going to see it as though it has happened. So you feel it, you bring all your other bodies into alignment too, and the action will follow. You know, action's hard sometimes because there's a lot of things we have to maneuver, solid objects, and make plans to move, relocate, buy things. So it's always going to be a little bit harder, but the intention behind it, the drive, you know, the fuel is there. It's just waiting for you to get in the car and drive it, and that's the action. So but the intention has to be there, you know, first. So yeah, that's an update from me. That's all I wanted to say for now, but I will update you further as we go, because this is an unfolding happening. We are really excited. It's a mixed feeling. It's never a bad feeling, but it's a mixed feeling of, are we ready to face it sounds a little bit like a downer, you know, but it's truth. You know, we don't know what forces we're going to face, if we're going to fully, and we intend to fully align on this path and make things happen very quickly, or if we just sit back and just sort of relax a little bit. I feel like time's pushing, because, you know, time's urging us to do things a little quicker because of the nature of, you know, we've got the two forces at play, and we've got the down force just as powerful as the up force, or the expanding force. It feels like, okay, we want to catch that next evolving and ascension time wave. We really need to put in, you know, be two steps ahead kind of thing. And, you know, it's hard because when you have responsibilities and stuff, you've got to try and make people understand why this is important and get people to join you, because no one can walk the path alone. That's the honest truth. If you feel powerful to do it, then go ahead, but there's going to be times when you actually need people. You know, it's good to start it, but eventually this has to grow, because frequency runs, like, as you know, it runs through different poles, different locations, and it jumps. And this is how we create round tables. People sit in a round circle, and then frequency will, you know, run through them in that scalar pattern. And so it's the same thing wherever you are based. We need to have connection, so we're running this with a wider radius and covering as much grid as possible. So yeah, essentially we need people to be aligned with intentionally aligned, and also mentally, energetically, emotionally aligned as well. We want people who, even though they're going through emotional stuff, we all are, everyone, including myself. You know, I have my own meltdowns, meltdown moments, you know, pick myself up and get going again. And, you know, it's all good. It's all fine. When we understand the bigger purpose of this, then these are really insignificant, even though we may perceive them as something really catastrophic. but they're not. They're just little steps to empower you and get you prepared for the bigger thing, because the bigger thing's never about just how we're feeling in the moment. It's about knowing every part of us is important. Even when we're sad, that sadness is important too, because everything's meant to take us back to the core of our beingness. At the core of our beingness, I feel the heart's there. Everything happens for us to know ourselves better, to clear our hearts from ill intentions, to really, have more compassion, to be more relatable, to see ourselves in others, and humbles us as well, because if we, sometimes we get too intellectually successful and we feel like, oh, we've done all these achievements and things like that, but the heart is just sitting there, without any without any reminders, anything that triggers it to feel more, rather than intellectualize and analyze everything. Because really, if we want to align heart, center, mind, spirit, soul, all in one. This alignment is what's going to take us into the next density level, not just running techniques, not just being up to date with techniques. So, and the way we do that, by the way, is people say, okay, done the techniques, nothing's changing, I know I've got to open my heart. How do I do that? Like, how do I become heart-centered? Becoming heart-centered, I feel, is about, well, it's a mixture of you taking initiative to put yourself in situations where you can make decisions from the heart, more from the heart, rather than, I'm not saying 100% heart and no mind, no, it have to be, at least balance between the two. But also outer experiences too, like sometimes when we have a sick family member, people start to feel more appreciation to people who are dying or sick than when they're alive and well. And that's because we start to see the vulnerability in them, and the vulnerability brings us closer to God's source, because it reminds us and it reignites the living flame in the heart. Vulnerability. And when we can be vulnerable with other people, when we can open the heart and just come from a place of purity and innocence, and not judge things and not mistrust and not, I know that's hard, because I personally don't recommend complete trust, but at least we should, I believe, to open our hearts is to have a healthy level of trust in others, and have a healthy level of surrender, and have a healthy level of vulnerability, and have a healthy level of compassion and empathy. I'm saying healthy because the excessive of any of this, the excess of that is also not a good thing, because it's going to tip the scales. It will be more about, you being hurt than healthy. It's not going to help you. So the healthy balance is the best thing to keep your heart ignited, and also do things without expectation, like give out of the self, give out of just for the sake of giving, without expecting fruits and rewards. And that I found opens the heart. And also for me personally, what helped me to really get in touch with the core of myself is look at everything around me and put myself in their shoes and feel what they're feeling. And that doesn't mean, touching them and, not that kind of feel with them, but like be just in my imagination, just envision myself in their shoes and what they're going through, and it makes me feel so much compassion. Like before, my mind wants to judge them, my mind wants to be in their shoes. And then comes the mind after that to give me direction on where to go, because sometimes we're tempted to help other people because they play victim. We put ourselves in their shoes, they play victim, they win, because then we're doing things for them. And we shouldn't be. Because if they're playing victim, that means they're not victims. Real victims, yes, but when they're playing victim, that means they're trying to manipulate you to receive, to get their needs met. So put myself in their shoes if I can feel they're not playing victims, and I really feel what they're going through, and I can feel it, sense it in my whole body. I feel compassion, nothing but compassion, instead of blame and which sometimes we're all tempted to blame. But yeah, I try to remind myself, not always successful. Sometimes I have a bit of a, oh, that's because you've done that, like knee-jerk reaction. But when I really think about it, like I said before, intentions are everything, absolutely everything. So having said that, speaking of intentions, we intend to, like I said, just keep on empowering others to join us on this beautiful journey of evolution, of unfolding, and coming together and at one-ment, because without the unity of the hearts, the unity of the minds alone will not get us there. Simply saying it, because great minds come together, they have ideas, they have grand plans, but if there's no heart, there's no inner ignition, there's no heart flame, then it's a limited creation. It's not connected, it's not aligned with eternal energy, with eternal life, because it's meant to die off one day. It's never going to reach fruition. It's never going to reach completion stage. So always with the heart centered in the right place, there's always great things created, and this is what we would like. We would like to have as many people on board who organically are aligned with us, with our energy, how we feel, our hearts and our minds, and also what we're doing, and come together. And we don't really have a plan. We just come together first and see what we can create, because it's a group effort. It's never about one or two people organizing things for the group. It's good to have a rough plan, but not, really come, from the top down and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Everyone must abide, and these are the rules. And yes, there's rules, but when you're Christic, you know the rules. And do no harm unto others. Obviously, that's the main thing. And that's it. It's pretty much the only rule we have to have. And yourself, obviously. And coming together. And we'll see what eventuates from that. But the main thing is the coming together in purity, in good intentions, in an open heart, and having done some of the work, the prior work, only so there's not too much, disparity. So we don't have to keep some people, waiting for other people to catch up. So we need to at least be running Harik Shield and Clear J Seals and that sort of thing. Started flame body activations. So this is my message, and I would like to thank you for listening. and just wanted to come and give you a little update as we're traveling to our next stop, which will be a permanent spot. So this is like a little piece of heaven in one of the most beautiful forests in the Central Coast, New South Wales. I don't want to give precise locations. And you know, if you're around that area, get in touch, we'll let you know where we are. And we want to acquire a land and start some form of grid work. And we need flame runners, we need flame holders, we need indigos, we need humans. Humans who don't put themselves in any category, who just want to do good work, just want to learn the basics. They're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to come, as long as your intentions are good and pure and aligned. And so I'll close this segment, or I should say this update, and I'll be in touch soon with another update. Stay well, omni love, take care, bye.